Okay, tonight's Finance Committee meeting starting at 7:05 looks like. Today is March 23rd. We're being taped by, what's the abbreviated name now?
Chat.
Chat.
Carver, Halifax Access TV.
Television.
Chat. Okay,
Chat.
good. Chat.
That's nice to know. Thank you.
Okay, so tonight's agenda, mail, reserve fund transfers, approving of meeting minutes. We have an appointment at 7 o'clock with Board of Health, Kathy Drennan. Appointment 7:15, library, Larry Kavanaugh. School budget discussion of FY15 and FY16 budgets. Review spending year to date, public participation, and discussion of upcoming meeting dates and calendar. Okay, so.
Want me to go better?
Yeah.
She was just here. Let me run up.
I waved to her when I came in.
She came down when we were having capital planning and wanted to know how many copies she had, so.
Okay.
Don't they have text? Don't they have texting?
Oh yeah, I guess.
Okay, so, upcoming meeting dates we can talk about real quick. We have a meeting Wednesday. Kendra has scheduled appointments on Wednesday.
Yeah, I can tell you who's coming in. Except I have, coming in for Wednesday, I have the assessor, Karen Trudeau, and I also have Jerry Elliott, who's coming in on Wednesday.
Good.
Okay, at 7 and 7:30.
Good.
Okay? And then on Monday, the 30th,
Good.
I have Bob Adora coming in at 7:15. South Coast Legal has requested a meeting with us, so I have them at 7:30. And then,
That's an old one, right?
yeah,
We've had them before, right?
they put an article on
They've never come.
3,500.
They've never come to us before.
No, but it's not one of the.
Yeah,
We
what?
had one that's, what's the third one request?
So, the third one is
The third one is Council on Aging.
Council on Aging. What time is that? 8?
7:45.
7:45. Good.
So South Coast Legal has been on our warrant in past years. That's
Yes.
not the one that was added this year.
No. They're on, I think it's for 3,500. And I think last year it was at 27.
That might have been a few years ago.
Yeah, we had a big last year. It may not have been last year.
I think we did that when Pete and Paul were
Thank you, Peg.
on the committee.
Yeah.
That's been 2 years anyways,
Was it?
Right.
Okay.
at least. Yeah.
Charlie and I were talking, we thought maybe it was last year, but couldn't.
Okay, so that's the upcoming schedule. There's a selectmen's meeting tomorrow night, and then there's the Silver Lake School Committee meeting at 5 p.m.
Yes.
5 p.m.
So sorry. I thought my appointment was 7:30.
No,
7?
Yeah,
Hello.
go around and introduce ourselves.
Hi, I'm Stu Hall.
Hi, Peg Fitzgerald.
Gordon.
Nikki Newton.
I'm Kendra Kelly.
Nice to meet you.
I have never met you.
So thank you for coming today. Jump right into this. Updated. So we are on lines. One 14. So we have line 114, health clerical at 39,872, and it's level funded. And is that because the person's at the top step?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Sandy, we have an extra day this year. Is that included into that? That's included. Okay. Okay, so that's level funded, and then we have health, 115, health expense at 7,000, $395, it's minus $60. And this is the line that we increased last year by 3,120. And that was for the increase in inspections.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you could give us an update on how that's going and what's happened with that increase.
That will be returned to you this year. So I thank you for approving the whole idea last year. It very much is needed. The problem that I ran into was individuals did not have the professional liability insurance that was required. And this was really a discovery that surfaced in a lot of town departments over the last year or so. All the admin people were being told, you have to collect this insurance information. So that request had increased and changed, is my understanding, and it was emphasized as, a necessity. So even a health agent in another town would be covered by the town, but once they went to work part-time in another, wouldn't necessarily even have that, let alone an individual who might have some insurance to do some sort of work like this. Like one person I had in mind, she already has a food business, but when I spoke to her insurance agent, the insurance agent felt quite insistent that the type of work that was being asked of her, she would have to pay about $2,500 in insurance. And so they were walking away from this saying, it's not worth my time. So unfortunately, at least this last year, I was not able to pursue it. So that led to a discussion with Wage and Personnel to actually establish the position of assistant health agent. And it's being discussed whether or not that would be a salary position or a grade 7.
Okay. So is that expense line now, should we reduce that if if we can't fund that person the way that we're looking to? Sandy's going to.
Yeah, I think what she was hoping to do was reduce her expense line, but then increase the inspector's line.
Just move the
For
same
an
amount of money
assistant.
to that other line?
We're asking to create a new position. So last year, it was just part of the expense budget. So for next year, I'm still expecting and wanting that amount that was approved at town meeting to remain there.
But you want to move it to the other line first?
Yes.
Yeah.
We haven't done that.
So
And what is that amount?
That's 3,120.
So which line would that move to? Inspection? Or? I'm not clear where that would go. Clerical? That's not right either.
Well, it's a new position that hasn't been
Oh, so it
approved
would be
yet.
a new line?
Yes.
It would be a new
Well,
line?
wouldn't it go into inspections of, like the way we handled the building department? Those two are
I would
both
think it
in
would
there,
be part
right?
of that. So that in the past,
Okay,
What would be the official title of this new?
assistant health agent.
oh no, assistant building
Assistant health
inspector is supposed to.
It's a separate line, so.
What is your title?
Health agent,
Health agent. So this would be assistant health agent?
yes.
Okay.
So it is listed as a different line, so Nikki, you'd be right. You'd be looking for a different line.
It makes me think of, in the past, for many, many years in a row, the animal inspector was grouped with me as health inspector under inspections. And I asked that the two be separated just so that the public could see actually how little she made for what she did. But yeah, you're right, it still is under inspections.
So you brought that to Wage and Personnel,
Yes.
and have they met and discussed it yet, or?
We've been again, and it's been talked about. I don't know if they've reached a decision.
Okay.
Right.
So I have a feeling that the information I brought with me, you folks don't even need. You're all about the numbers, right? Not the words.
Depends what the words are about.
And then the only other line, so 116 health inspections, $63,669. It's an increase of $98. Is that a
That's a
longevity?
longevity.
And then the next line is health nursing service, which is level funded.
Are the next two lines yours as well, or is that somebody else? Landfill and inspector of animals?
So the animal inspector works under the Board of Health, and the landfill needs to be monitored for 30 years.
But that's yours?
Yes,
That's
and
your
Board of Health
okay.
expense.
And those are the
So the landfill and engineering monitoring, that was the new contract that was signed last year or 2 years ago? I know there was discussion.
This is the year we're approaching the end of
That
3
contract.
years now, and I need to renew that.
So is fiscal 16 okay at this number, and fiscal 17 you expect to see an increase?
I'm not certain, to tell you the truth. I talked to Charlie Seelig about this because it was very, very time consuming. It was a good idea to go out to bid rather than depend on the numbers coming in from one firm. It definitely was a good idea, and I used a qualifications process because it's not by law required to go out to bid for engineering and for architect work.
Okay.
But a lot was learned from it. I did it sort of blind judging it, so I assigned numbers to the chart I had, so it was a good process and a good learning experience. Time bond, they were low on the price and highly qualified, and I'm just extremely pleased with their work.
Okay.
So I talked to Charlie Seelig about the idea of approaching time bond for a price, and it's one thing to expect a small increase, as time goes by, but if it was anything, outrageous, then I would go through the bidding process again. That's what I would like to do this year.
Okay. Okay. Anyone have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for your time. Lots of interesting reading material. Thanks. Good night.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
read
you.
it tomorrow.
Okay. Laurie's at 7:50. She hasn't come over
She
yet, right?
emailed me that she was coming, so I know she's going.
Okay. School club is probably going to be a longer discussion than just a few minutes waiting.
Should we look at some smaller budgets?
Yeah, why don't we go, where did we stop?
While we have Peg here, I do have 2 minutes that are back from June.
Okay, so do we have enough?
I think, let me just look and see who was here. Oh no, Julian's not here, never mind. Right, we can do November 10th,
Okay,
but I can't do the June ones because Julian's not here.
okay.
But if we don't mind doing the November ones, I know everybody had read them. Okay, well, if you don't want to, that's fine.
Come on up, Laura.
Right now?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
not till 7:45, right?
Nope, 7:15.
You sure?
Do you have more people
Oh, we
coming
were
from the
told
library?
7:45. I'm
Do
sorry.
you have more people coming from the
Well, we
library?
did, but I was the only one who was speaking, but they were coming because we had it at 7:45.
No, we can do the
Should we wait
minutes.
till they have more people coming? If you have other people coming from the library.
They were planning to
7:45.
be here, just to be here,
Yeah.
so if it was, yeah, we had it at 7:45.
Because we
was
don't
our
have
time.
anybody else.
I thought I was
Let me
still
double check the
early.
time, because she picked the time, so.
But that doesn't matter. Well, we don't have anybody else for the time.
No, I don't have anybody else with time. So,
Right?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the lines, I don't think we're going to ask too many questions. Yeah, let's do the minutes then.
right, I
Wait.
know she wanted to specifically have Jean here, so that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay,
Alright, so let's wait.
so if we have the minutes, we can do those minutes that we haven't been able to do.
Oh, no, okay, my bad. She did say 7:45, my bad. My 4 looks like a 1. It's me.
Okay, so,
I was brushing my typing apparently. All right, we can do the November ones.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to venture into the two new
Yeah,
ones.
come on. Whatever ones we can get done, let's get done.
All right.
Okay, so we have meeting minutes from Monday, November 10th, where myself, Peg, Nikki, and Stu were present.
Is this the same one?
This was the meeting with the selectmen and the capital planning, discussing what we should talk. Discussion with capital plan and the selectmen, where we asked for a Peg's word. Charlie wrote the letter. This was the meeting where you gave the wording for the letter. That was done nice.
I move that we approve the minutes as printed.
Sure.
And those are November 10th, right?
Yep, November 10th.
Yeah, the other two that we can.
Okay.
Okay, I second it.
Okay, Stu, good one.
I have the ones I can send you, so I'm not gonna.
Okay. And we still have a June one, right?
Yeah, but Julian, we need
So who needs to be here for that one?
Peg, Stu, and Julian. Double check. June 23rd, Gordon, Peg, Stu, and Julian.
Okay.
Go get it one of these days.
November 10th. I think he's second, so we're approving.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, and then we have, which date's that?
January 12th.
Okay, so we have Monday, December 1st, 2014, myself, Peg, Nikki, and Stu. We approve meeting minutes of this meeting.
Which one was that? That was,
This was a quick meeting.
oh, I remember that. Okay, I moved that we approve those meetings as printed.
Okay.
All those minutes we
That took a half minute. That was a happy birthday.
How many more people do you
We're
have?
just waiting for one person.
Okay.
Does somebody make a motion?
Peg made a motion, was there a second?
Second it.
Okay. Say that was Stu. That was a quick.
This is the one we're gonna vote on.
Yeah, no, that's the one we're voting on right now.
Yeah.
That's the one that they just motioned.
No, we just motioned that.
Yeah, the one
Yeah.
that Stu has in his hands.
December 1st.
December 1st.
Yep. But we didn't vote on it. Gordon first, okay.
Oh, I was just waiting.
Oh, sorry.
Get over. Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Oh, Peg has to sign. Okay.
Thank you.
You these ones. Okay. Well,
Okay, now I moved this and it's been
And-
seconded.
and we voted on it.
Okay,
You said aye.
okay.
Did you hear him?
Yeah, I heard.
Okay, so the next meeting minutes was Monday, January 12th, 2015. Myself, Peg, Nikki, Stu, and Julianne were present. So we discussed capital plan, fire chief, we discussed reserve fund transfer, meals tax, talked about adding meals tax, we talked about community preservation, we talked about the schools, and we talked about the E&D.
All right, what's the date?
This is January 12th.
Okay, I move we approve the minutes for January 12th as printed.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I didn't see that.
Jim read it.
Meg, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I also have, Peg asked me to write a letter to Karen.
Okay.
I have that written. If everybody wants to read it and sign it, I can send it to her.
Do you want to read it out loud?
Sure.
Or I can do that.
If you want to, since you Dear Karen, the members of the Halifax Finance Committee would like to extend our sincere thanks for your participation on our committee over the past years. It takes a group of special people such as yourself to volunteer for committees and unselfishly give of their time to help our town continue to be a fabulous one in which to live and raise a family. The talent and expertise you have contributed is appreciated and important to our town. We hope you found your experience to be personally rewarding. We would like you to know that if at any time your availability changes, we would welcome you back with open arms to once again sit as a member of this board. Again, thank you for your service to the Finance Committee. It has been a pleasure to have you as part of our group, and we look forward to the possibility of someday having you join us at the table again.
Good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Are you signing below it?
I thought, last time I moved you all together and everybody tried to sign next to the so I spaced it out, and that way you can sign below or next to or do it.
However you do it, I'll follow suit.
I don't know if I put them all together.
It's all the minutes that we can do
And they all
tonight.
sign right. I'll hold it for you.
Is she coming tonight?
No.
No, she's up for, what, 2 weeks?
Yeah, she's going to Punta Cana.
I don't know, somebody with flip-flops on, that's all I know.
She's going
Can you overlap this, Karen?
Yeah, briefly.
I also looked up, you asked me to check the reserve fund transfer for a collector treasurer, and this is what I found. 2 years, and then last year, Sandy and I discovered that it was a line item transfer, not a reserve fund.
One of those is the one?
Nope, those are the 2 reserve
Do you know what
funds.
the line?
And there was an,
I don't. Sandy, do you know?
did you have it in the same year?
Kendra's got your name on the letter
Yes.
too.
Was it on the in one of those same years or a different year?
No, last year.
Do you know what that total was?
Oh.
I don't remember what the total was. I think it was something like 2,500, but I'm not positive.
Oh, thank you.
That's a big difference.
It was, do you remember?
That's a lot.
I know, I thought it was something like that.
So reserve fund
I might
transfer,
not, hold on, I'll look.
reserve fund
Probably have it
transfers
in my notes.
to the collector treasurer postage. So in June of 2012 was $475. In April of 2013, it was $210.
And I have it in my notes. If you give me a few minutes, I can.
Gordon?
Yes.
The reason it could have been so high last year is because the bulk rate that we had been using,
Yeah.
the post office no longer allowed us to use it due to the way we mail bills.
Oh, I remember that.
So that could be the high discrepancy for last year.
It might not have been that high, but for some reason that number stuck out in my head.
And then,
To be honest, I'm just drawing a blank on it.
was that line up from last year, so we took care?
So if you pull up your, that was early on, it's 30 something. So that would be collector expense, so that's line 31. So the postage is an increased request of 500.
So they really needed 2,000, then maybe they actually need more.
I know that
We
they're
better read this
pulling
back.
together the figures you asked them
Yeah.
to. They're getting those figures ready for you, so they will be able to come back.
Okay, yeah, so then we can deal with that when they come back.
And Charlie's recommending level funding.
For,
This is Charlie's recommendation, the one we're working on. And collector expense, he's
This
recommending,
is Charlie's? I don't think this is
oh,
Charlie's.
the funding.
I didn't see it.
Which one are you looking at?
Collector expense. So fiscal 15 was 12,922, they are now requesting 15,958, and Charlie's recommending 12,922.
Yes, the town's on the whole budget, and we're talking just about postage, which is
See,
very.
it depends on who's gonna pay it.
oh, I've been using Sandy's.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
well, why don't we talk
I
about
said
the,
we need to go. I'll look again, because I'm back to April, but I think I may have missed it in
Alright.
lunch.
I have it in my,
All right, why don't we-
forms upstairs.
why don't we get back to that one afterwards?
I'll look again after the meeting, I'll look
Okay.
a little closer.
So, we have an appointment with the library at 7:45, but if you guys are all here,
Yeah, no, that's
take it
Thank
early.
you.
Thanks.
No, I just had it, where did you go?
Library's right around health, so
129?
129.
I'm sorry, I didn't email you back, I got your message and I read it, and I just had to talk,
okay, that's
sorry.
fine.
But thank you for coming.
So why don't we go around the table and introduce ourselves?
Stu Hall.
Ted Fitzgerald.
Gordon Anders.
Nikki Newton.
Linda Braga.
Victor Kelly.
I'm Laurie Kavanaugh, the director, Jean Gallant, assistant director.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're talking about lines 129, library director salary. It's $62,481, increase of $1,772. It's a 2.9% increase. So is that a contractual step increase?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Just the increase. Okay, and then the next line is line 130. The request is for library wages, $161,758. It's an increase of $1,102. It's a 0.7% increase. Steps?
Yes. And longevity.
Steps. Okay, that's 129, that's 130, and 131. Okay, so library, line 131, library expense is level funded at $84,953.
Correct.
So maybe you could explain, because we're being taped tonight, about the accreditation, what that law requires the town to do to keep its accreditation so we can stay within the program.
Sure, yep. The state asks the towns to appropriate a minimum amount per year. It's calculated based on the average of the 3 years previous, and then an increase of 2.5% to that. So it's not a 2.5% increase over the previous year, it's over the average of the previous 3 years. And the reason for that is to kind of provide a financial floor to encourage towns to continue to support the library even when times get tight and budgets are, difficult to come by. So that's the reason for that, and when we do comply with those requirements, we are eligible to receive state aid money, library incentive grant money, which this year is estimated to be around $10,000. In FY14, it was just under $8,000. That's based on the state budget and what gets allocated to that line item, so it does fluctuate somewhat. It also allows us to apply for LSTA grant money, which we are using this year, a $7,700 grant from the state based on being eligible to apply for it because Halifax supports the library so well. One other requirement of the state is that 19% of the total library budget has to be spent on library materials. That's books and DVDs, audiobooks, children's books. Also includes electronic resources, so the e-books. So that's 19%. Our staff salaries and wages comes to 72%. So that leaves 9% for our other expenses. So that's why we do ask, we level fund the expenses. We do ask if there's an increase in the wages that doesn't come out of our expense, our other expenses.
Okay.
So, again, because we're being taped, do you want to let people know what benefits besides the money the library gets for being certified?
Well, yes, the reciprocal borrowing is the big carrot for libraries because when we are certified as a library in Halifax, Halifax residents get to borrow materials from all the other libraries, really in the state. We belong to the Sales Library Network, and that's a network of about 70 or 80 libraries. And anyone with a sales library card can request materials from any of those sales libraries and have them sent to Halifax and pick them up right at the local library. And Nikki's familiar with that service.
I'm a big user of that benefit.
Yeah, so that's something that when a library does not receive certification from the state, residents of that town lose those reciprocal borrowing privileges. So Wareham is an example, a recent library, the town did not, they disproportionately cut the library budget so that compared to other town departments, the library was cut disproportionately. Wareham did not receive certification. And now, if you live in Wareham, you can't apply for a library card in another network or use most of the libraries in the sales network. And that's the reason for that is that libraries generally try to, it's in a way to encourage the town to support their local library, because if everyone could just go to the next town over and use that library, there would be no incentive for the town to provide a budget for their own library.
Thank you.
So just quickly looking at your expense budget, one item that we've been highlighting was the electricity cost. And you have an increase of $414. Is that approximately, did you get that number working with Charlie? To just double check.
Well, we've just based it on our electric bills that we've been paying.
Okay, because the one question that we had is we're seeing a major increase in electricity costs.
Okay, no, we did not.
So that might not.
So that might not
we
be
have to
accurate.
look into that. We should put in more than
You mean from this current year? You mean from this current year's electric bills?
Yes,
You're forecasting?
the provider has notified us that there'll be a substantial increase. So you should just check with Charlie, and he can help you figure out what your electric bill will be for the current year. Then let our secretary know.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks.
So I'll just read it out loud. So mileage 200, books and supplies the 53,950, computer expenses 11,153, dues 250, 11,000 for electricity, office supplies 3,000, postage 200, subscriptions 5,000, telephone 0, equipment 200, and machine maintenance.
Just to
0.
explain the computer line, it's in as computers, that's our network fees.
Yep.
To sales, that's what we pay to be part of the sales network.
I have a question for you. Your 19% spent on materials.
Mhm.
You wrote in here that it's in your notes below the budget. I don't, we're probably not looking at the same page. This that you gave us,
And then I wrote,
you wrote 59,000 is the 19%. And then up here you have 53,000. So are there other materials somewhere else?
yeah, we can include the database subscriptions as
Okay.
as materials.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so you were.
So those are electronic,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
electronic resources.
Okay.
And also the other part of that is because I do the bills and there's that line on the right-hand side of the bills. So something that I call subscription is actually what the state considers materials.
Okay.
So there's a line that says materials and then there's a line that says subscription. So you should add like all of those up together. But a lot of that is just kind of like a housekeeping
Yeah.
thing too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the library's always been very good about helping us stay within
Yeah.
a narrow budget. So, as long as they agree that at town meeting, if we grant an increase to employees, we would grant them to the library. And we would agree that that would not affect level funding of their expense budget. And then you would have to figure out how to deal with the increase in electricity. You
Well, I
understand?
don't think that's what we're saying, is it?
They had asked us for something different when they first started speaking tonight.
Yeah?
So,
What did they, that was different?
That it would not, that an increase would not come out of our other expenses, in order to keep the bottom line the same, so that it would increase our bottom
The increase
line.
in salaries would not affect your expense.
Right, but it would
Right.
increase our bottom line in the end.
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
right,
that's
then I
what
think
I
you're
said.
saying
Did
the
you
same.
say that it
I
would
thought that's
increase
what I
your
said.
bottom
It would,
line?
yes.
So that it would increase, the bottom line would increase?
Oh, you can't help the bottom line. Right, they're gonna level fund the expense budget.
Yeah.
And if we increase a salary increase, we would increase their salary increase. We would increase their
top.
salaries
On top of that?
on top of a level funded expense budget. Right.
okay.
Now, about the electricity bill, where are we talking about putting?
Well, they're gonna have to deal with that within their own expense budget. Just like other
Just like
departments,
they
you
would.
know?
We might
Are
have to
we
turn
asking
the
other
heat down.
departments to do that?
Sandy?
Everyone's building a little bit extra into their budget. Now, they haven't gone up on their budget, they've gone up a little bit on their electricity. So we're gonna talk with Charlie, we're gonna see how much more if he thinks that will be enough, or if he thinks it should be more. We're talking, you went up a little from what you budgeted last year, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's what you spent in
Right, but we were
FY15.
estimating based on.
Right, which is fine. So we're looking at all the electricity amounts. If there's a need to increase it, we'll talk with the library and see what they think. I think so far, even with the increases that we've seen this year, you're within your budgeted amount. So I don't think it's going to be an issue this year. The amount that you increased might be enough, but Charlie and I will look at it. Okay?
We were also considering, we asked about a revolving fund for lost materials, which would mean that if somebody paid for a lost book or a lost DVD, that the library would be able to purchase a replacement of that item. As it is now, the money goes to the general fund. So that is another way that we had looked at. It would only be a small amount of about 200, we expect, but it would, like the printing revolving fund, it would help towards our minimum appropriation requirement without actually coming out of the town.
Oh, that
Rated
counts
budget.
toward the minimum?
Yeah, the revolving funds does,
Oh.
yeah.
Peggy had a question.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable request, because if you have to replace the book, you have to replace it, and it's not in your regular budget.
Right, so as it is now,
And
it comes
it would
out
be good to
twice.
put it in a revolving fund, because then that helps us
Yeah,
in our overall budgeting. I think it's a very good idea.
I do too.
Anybody else?
So do you want a motion now, or do you want to wait until we deal with that budget?
Well, we need to do that when we talk about the article, right?
Do we need an article for that?
It is, it's in the
What's-
works, yeah, I just
what
wanted
is-
to mention.
What is entailed in setting up a revolving fund?
Yep, that
What
is,
is the financial mechanism?
Charlie needs to put it in the town meeting warrant, does a separate article, and then next year, then the following year, it will join the list of revolving funds under 53E. So right now, he's gonna have to list it as a separate article for
and
town
that is
meeting.
in the works.
You've already spoken with
It's
him
in
about
process,
it,
so it should come before your committee when you deal with the
with all the articles.
articles.
Yeah, I would think it would be better to be in that general revolving fund instead of having a special one just for.
Well, we
Because of the
considered
books,
that, and then
you
we
know.
thought that it actually would keep it cleaner to keep the funds separate. The other fund is our printing costs, so that goes right back into ink, toner, and, supplies for
Right.
printing. So we kind of thought it would actually be better to have it as a separate fund.
Will it contribute to our bottom line with the state, with the overall reporting?
Right, it would count towards our materials,
Good.
again, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Did I hear some talk about fines?
We are planning to try to increase the revenue that the library brings into the town by implementing an overdue fine system again. It's been some years since the library's charged overdue fines, but it is pretty common, and we're kind of an outlier in the network to not charge overdue fines. So people do tend to expect it. So we're actually, as of July 1, planning to bring fines back, small fines, not huge fines, but we're really projecting, it's kind of a small amount, but trying to work it out because we haven't been collecting fines except when people want to pay fines that they've incurred by using other libraries. So we're projecting about $600 per year
So
as our first year of what we might collect.
So do you have to take the fine from another library and send it to them?
No, the way the fine system works is that anyone within the network, you can pay any library, and rather than shipping the fines around, it does, you do keep the fines. And the idea is that it works out in the end because you'll collect other libraries' fines and other libraries will collect your fines, but since we don't charge fines, we've always tried to not collect other libraries' fines. But some people really want to keep their, records clear and they want to pay the fines, so we do collect them. So even with not charging our own fines, so far this fiscal year, we've collected over $200 in fines.
Now, is that money currently going back into the general fund?
Yes, yeah.
Do you have a plan to change that?
No, the revolving fund would separate out lost materials payments from all the other fees. We collect fax, we charge for faxing, and we're also thinking of increasing the fax cost. That money all gets turned over to the town.
Fax money
Fax
separate?
money,
That's not part of the copy?
no. Faxing, lost card, we charge for people to replace a lost card. Forgetting anything else?
Fines, lost cards, and faxes. But currently, we're 50 cents a page for a fax, which is very low, and so if we increase that to say $1 a page,
Yeah, we'll double what we're bringing in through faxing, which actually gets used a fair amount. So far this year in fax fees, we've collected $456. So.
Wow. 912 pages.
And that's with a free cover sheet.
All right.
But,
Okay.
well,
No.
You
If-
forgot.
no. So if we do, We do an across-the-board wage increase, and that affects the overall budget. Would that make it so we have to apply for a waiver? Like if a wage increase goes through,
You mean because of the
Does it change the
19%
percentage?
materials?
yes.
No, because we can, usually the Friends will purchase summer reading titles. We usually can manage to make up the difference, and we always hit the 19%.
Okay. So there's a roundabout way of asking the question.
I don't think I have any more questions.
Does anybody have any questions?
No.
Thank you guys for
Well,
coming.
Thank you very much. Sorry for the miscommunication.
No, mine, totally my fault.
Okay. Oh, before you leave, do you guys have anything on the capital plan?
We did put in for a technology upgrade again, but you know, we could withdraw it if need be, but we did put in a small, I think it was under 2,000.
2785.
2785.
And that was just the 3-year.
That was the,
like amount.
yeah, the rotation of the technology upgrade. So that was, yes, that was in.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That was an annual application, right?
Yeah.
Did they do it, like, getting on an annual thing?
Yeah.
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 So we have not covered that in the capital planning committee. In
Okay.
terms of prioritization, we discussed it briefly, but not beyond that.
Okay. Okay. So library is just contractual increases and they level funded their expense. Then Board of Health will depend on what it comes out of wage and personnel. Do you know when we'll hear from wage and personnel on your decisions?
Usually attend their meetings, but their meeting is tonight. It got
It was supposed to be
canceled from last
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, so it's tonight.
Okay.
But I will ask them if they've made any decisions on how, or whether they're going to recommend it or not.
And like last year, if it comes up in their hearing, but is not supported by them, it's able to be brought up at town meeting, even if it's not printed in the warrant?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So do we want to vote on budget? So we just heard from, and specifically the electricity within the library expense?
Why don't we hold off on the expense line until we hear back from Charlie and Sandy on what they calculate for the increase? Because at every town building, every department, like the schools, the town hall, the police department, they're all using the same calculation for electricity. So as long as we have the same.
Yeah. And then the health line, do we want to do some of those or no? Because the salary ones,
We don't have much of a choice on salary one, right?
right?
The only one that I question is line 150 in the expense line.
Well, and that sounds like that's going to
115.
change, so we should hold off on that
Yeah.
anyway. Right.
So if you make a motion,
All right, I make a motion that we approve line 114, health clerical at $39,872.
is there a second?
I second that.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Right.
Okay, motion passes unanimous.
Just hold the next one.
Yeah.
Right, hold 115. I make a motion to approve line 116, health inspections at 63,006. Oh, wait, hold on. Is money going to move into that line?
Well, no, because when we,
It's going to be a new line.
when I just double checked the building inspector,
It's gonna be a
there's
new
an
line.
assistant building inspector line.
All right, I'll continue that thought. Health inspections at 63,669.
At 60,
$63,669.
Oh, here we are, okay.
I'll second.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay, I make a motion to approve line 117, health nursing service at $7,000.
Okay, I second that, yeah.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
All right, now,
118.
are we gonna trust on 118 that that's gonna come in at the same?
Well, she said she
number?
signed a 3-year contract, and
Yeah,
that's.
We're still within the 3 years?
Yes,
Okay.
FY '16 should be the third year of the contract, and that's why she was talking, she has to go back up.
Okay. All right, then I make a motion to pass line 118, landfill engineering and monitoring at $14,047.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
All right, I make a motion to approve line 119, inspector of animals at $2,900.
Second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
All right,
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
so that's it for that.
Okay,
So then do we want to go to the library lines while we're there?
if you want to.
Okay. So on to line 129 on a different page.
That's-
Oh.
You can move it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Go for it.
Line 129, library director salary, I make a motion to approve at $62,481.
I'll second.
Aye.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous.
I make a motion to approve line 130, library wages at $161,758.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous.
Hold expense for now.
Yeah, hold the expense until we hear back from the electricity corporation.
All right, and that's it.
That's it. Okay, let's go back to the
What
agenda.
about library expense? She didn't move that?
She didn't move that because we're gonna ask them to check the electricity costs. And treat them the same way that we've treated the other departments. Okay, on to the school budget discussion. So, Peg,
Yeah, I went over these budgets, and I went over the town budget, and I think the most we can afford for the school is a 2.5% increase. And I know Charlie's recommending less than 2.5%, but I think with Silver Lake coming in so low, and with that New Growth figure what it is, that we could afford a 2.5% increase for the elementary school, which would be, if I can find it. Oh, 5,000.
5 million. I don't wanna do that to the school.
Teaching the phone.
$5,103,730. They have made a number of cuts to their budget, so right now it means that they would only have to go and cut further 14,157.
14,157.
And the way school things go, I really think that if they were wise, they'd just not do anything until the end of the year to see what they have for retirements and other things that might affect their budget before they have a final budget.
Okay.
But that would be my recommendation.
Okay. Anybody? Oh wait, Nikki.
How do you feel about that, Mr. Chairman? You think it's high?
No, I think it's what we've been telling the school, so.
Right, you know, I think it's only fair when you look at how we're treating the other departments.
Okay. Anybody from committee have anything to say before I ask? Was there anybody from public participation? School committee members from elementary school?
It's gonna go back to the full committee.
Okay.
We're meeting on Monday.
You meeting on Monday and Tuesday?
No, I'm sorry, are we meeting on Tuesday?
No, we're meeting on Monday, the 30th.
Okay, okay. I was thinking the 30th was Tuesday.
Mr. Chairman, that's a figure that I put on the table because we simply have to make a decision. We're 4 weeks away from printing, and I think that 2.5% is a very fair figure for the elementary school, when I don't see that they're suffering any kind of major increase in pupils or anything like that.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, they've had a constant drop in pupils, and you know, half their budget theoretically is funded with state aid, which is level funded, which means that the town is coming up with a great deal more than 2.5% out of town funds to make the 2.5% increase.
Oh, well, wait a minute then.
Pardon?
Wait. So what you just said is you're talking about their total bottom line budget, including state aid, to go up by 2.5%. But this number that we're seeing, that's not their total budget, that's just our share of it, right?
Oh, no, that's
That's
the
no,
total budget.
no, because if you go to the front page, we include the revenue on the front page.
No, but this number right here,
Yes. So when you go to the front page and we look at state aid, and then you go to the sheet that includes state aid, the 2,699,817 is included in the 3 million. So the state aid for
what, 300?
on the front page. So when you look at the total revenue, when we talk about the total revenue on the front page, this revenue is included and their total spend is included.
Yes, but if we're talking about how much percent-wise their budget increases, if we're saying it should be 2.5%, we should be looking at 2.5% on their total budget, not just
Yeah.
on.
That's
5
what I
million
did.
is the total.
I gave them
That's the total
2.5%
regular
of
day,
their
yes.
total budget.
Oh, I see, because the difference comes out earlier in the calculation. Oh, okay, sorry, my
But
bad.
there's really there's no difference when this is everything that they spend
Yeah,
is included in their budget.
okay.
Because we don't, in Halifax, we don't differentiate when we're actually voting the budget, but in essence, theoretically, the state aid goes to the school.
Yeah.
And no, it's been level funded, so we have to put in a lot more than 2.5% to bring them up to 2.5%.
So if their state aid was,
Yes, I understood that part.
okay. So if you looked at their state aid from the current fiscal year is 2,699,817 times 1.025. If their state aid increased at 2.5%, the new number would be 2,767,312. So if you just
And as I say, I think we should, you know, make a pact with the school, and for the current, the following year, you work on urging our state representatives to come through their responsibility, because, you know, schools are supposed to actually do the responsibility of the state. And they constantly send down rules for us to obey, but they're not that great in increasing the amount of money they give us. So I think we have to really kind of start telling them to step up to the plate.
So, just quickly, it would have been state aid, if state aid increased at the same rate of 2.5%, there would be an increase of $67,495.
Right, so that's money that we have to make up their 2.5%.
Right. Okay. So, that's a motion Is there a second?
That was a motion. The
Okay.
motion was to suggest that amount, or to approve that amount. What was your motion?
My motion was to increase the elementary school budget by 2.5%, from 2015 by 2.5% to 2016 to $5,103,730.
Okay, I have a question. So, we all know about the leaking roof, and that's coming up later, not right now, right? The leaking roof repair.
Charlie approached John and I Friday after a Silver Lake meeting and asked us to go forward with the roof. That's what Charlie's
Go
asking.
forward with what?
With the roof, as just the roof repair.
So, it's
So,
I'm worried about the elementary school roof leaking.
Well, that would be, I would think, an article.
That's going to, yeah.
That's
That's not going to be able to come out of the school budget. That's why I just
exactly.
want to make that loud and
Yes.
clear, we are not going to be able to spend that out of the
Right,
budget.
that would be within our capital plan, wouldn't
Okay.
it?
Yes.
Okay.
So it
and
would
it's
be an
not,
article.
and there's no, as of last week, there wasn't one listed in the capital plan.
It's not currently in the capital plan.
No, it's not.
Well, the building committee has been talking about it for about 4 years now. And I thought they would have it within the capital plan they presented to you
There
people.
was,
Pardon?
there's a,
There's a debate going on about who's going to be responsible for the roof, whether it's going to be the municipal and school building committee or whether it's going to be the school committee itself.
Who's responsible for what? Paying for it? Who's responsible for overseeing it?
Yes.
Well, that's entirely up to the school committee, because they have the responsibility for the building and the thing, but the building committee has stepped in and offered to help, because they have the expertise. And
I'm not sure what's going on with it, I'm going to be honest
if the
with you.
school committee is going to take it over, we better darn well have them notify the capital planning committee, because it's got to be in our capital plan, regardless of who sponsors it.
I agree.
so just let me ask the two other four capital planning members.
We were doing hot cats us all there.
So when Charlie talked to you and Mr. Tuffy about that, was that to go through the MSBC?
Yes.
And
That's for just the roof.
for just the roof. And that would, Charlie asked for that to occur during the FY16 fiscal year. That,
He asked John to move forward with it. So I'm not sure if it's supposed to move forward for 16 or what. Charlie didn't specify that.
I thought the deadline was November.
The school
That was for
committee-
the joint one.
hold on.
That was to do a joint,
Sorry, joint what?
to do like the roof and windows and stuff, a comprehensive. So if we just do the roof, the deadline, I believe, is April.
Really? Okay. John had led us to believe, because I didn't know about the windows. I only knew about the roof.
I'm just telling you what John told me.
So, hold on, so there's roof and windows?
I don't know anything about the windows. That's the first time I've heard that mentioned.
Okay, so the roof is currently not listed as an article for capital plan,
No.
correct? Okay. Hey,
I'm not really involved in who is going to carry out the plan, whether it's the school committee, whether it's the building committee. I also don't care about how it's going to be funded, whether it's going to be a town article or whether we're going to go through school building to try to get some reimbursement, you know? But it's got to be in our capital plan so that we're keeping track of the fact that this is a major thing that we have to deal with.
Exactly.
This isn't going to be 50,000 or 100,000. This is going to be an expensive, you know, proposition, and we should have it in front of us every time we look at the capital plan.
I agree.
So it should be submitted by the school committee to the capital plan. without, and explain it, you're not sure where it will be funded from, but that we might be responsible for it. And it's gotta be done that way,
Okay,
don't you think?
I do, and I think it's gotta come forward with quotes. I mean, we need some documentation.
so is that, Mr. Assessor, before you leave, we have a question for you too.
You tried to sneak out, didn't you?
Trying to sneak out.
Sorry to interrupt, just one question. Last week, we talked about an update on the new growth number. Is that new growth number?
I haven't had the.
Okay, we'll talk to Karen when she comes in.
When does she come in?
Next.
Tomorrow,
Yeah, I would
tomorrow,
think-
tomorrow's not
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Well, she gives it to us, it's gotta be valid.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to talk.
okay, thank you. Well, sorry, just wanted to grab you before you left, because that affects the budget. Okay, so the roof is not in the capital plan. We need the roof to be in the capital plan. It is, or,
No.
okay.
But the roof is not within the budget.
The roof is not within the current budget and is not within the current priorities of the capital plan,
Do we
because it's
even
not
know-
on the list.
It's not on the list, we have no idea how much it would be. Yeah.
So do we know where in the process that, is it just like is Mr. Tuffy asked for the municipal school building, anything, or?
I know.
Okay, Peg then Sandy. Peg?
I really think that you have to talk to John Tuffy and tell him how the town feels that we might be responsible, and so therefore we should have it within our capital plan. We understand the problem he faces when he thought the building committee was going to do it and then the school committee is going to do it. He's kind of caught between, as you are, you know, and in order to get it on the capital plan, at least let them know that this major project is coming through. And then Mr. Tuffy has to get someone who will go for quotes as to about what it would cost. So then we all know what we're talking about. Right now, we have roofs, it's a real problem. We have no idea what it's gonna cost.
The good news is that we did appropriate money last year for the sealing of certain,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
we did appropriate funds last year to seal some of the seams
Right,
that should
yes.
help us.
Right.
Which is
And
good.
that's kind of a makeshift thing. We can't keep doing that.
No, we can't, but at least we have
to deal with
that.
that whole roof.
Right, right.
So, Jerry,
Oh, can Sandy hit her hand?
Sandy.
I know that Jerry had supplied an estimate from one company to John. I know he was going to try to get back in touch with him because it was getting old. The estimate was a couple of years old now. There was also talk about doing both the flat roof and the shingles together. So I know that it's being talked about. I don't know what stage it's at.
Okay, so has just Jerry been invited to our meeting on Wednesday, or has the whole building committee been invited as well?
Just Jerry, but I can get in touch with everyone else if you'd like.
I think we need to, I know you guys aren't meeting again until Monday, and you're not gonna be able to post for Wednesday at this point in time.
Yeah, that's what I thought we had it on this time, I missed that. You're not looking for the whole roof for this capital plan, you're looking for the design, and then the next year we would go out for debt exclusion.
That's not what Charlie said to John and I
Okay.
the other day. So
Okay.
I'm getting confused about what everybody wants.
Okay.
I think this might need to actually, the Halifax Elementary put together a building and safety committee. I think that the best way, and I'm throwing you under the bus here, is for them to meet and set up a meeting and meet with John and Claudia and get this going. It can be put on the agenda for Monday night for us to begin a discussion at the committee level, but I'm going to tell you right now, if Charlie's actually looking for a capital item to be put on the town warrant for this year.
He said that to you?
That's what he said to John and I Friday afternoon. I was taken aback by that, I'm gonna be honest, because that was not what I thought we were looking for. I thought we were looking for something for a year from now.
Yes.
So, I'm kind of confused on what you want.
Oh, no, this is the first.
No, I'm saying, I'm kind of confused about what the town is looking for in general. So,
Well, from the perspective
besides
finance
that, we
committee?
want the roof fixed. Because I think we can all say we want the roof fixed.
So, I think that we need to know what the implications are of not fixing it this year versus waiting until next year, and what that means. It sounds like we need to put people in a room and have a meeting and discuss what the plan is for fixing the roof, and what those plans entail. So maybe Charlie, Mr. Tuffy, Mr. Campbell from the building committee, I'll attend it if I can, selectmen,
And Sandy and Mel if they want.
and the school committee members. Would we be able to do that to get that on your agenda for Monday?
Could I ask a question?
Go ahead.
Has the Halifax
Yeah,
School
but
Yeah, and
you'll
see,
never get
that's-
bids until.
And that's what my problem is this is very rushed all of a sudden. It's,
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't have that conversation with Charlie, so I have no idea where that was coming from. I was under the impression that, the application should have gone in November, that we were on the track for getting the application in for next November.
Well,
I can't hear you. I can't hear you when you turn around.
I was saying that I wasn't under the impression that we were trying to rush that for this town meeting, that I was under the impression that a certain application had to be completed last fall. Because it did not, we were gonna have the whole year to do the necessary paperwork so that we could apply in November, and this would be a debt exclusion for next year.
So, as long as we have a meeting and discuss what the plan is, sooner rather than later, I
Yeah.
think that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't really matter what we thought before until
Yeah.
we sit down and meet.
And I didn't chat with Charlie after the meeting, he was in here today, so I haven't been able to talk to him.
Kim, are you referring to an SBA loan for the roof?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's gonna take a while, it's not
Yeah.
just gonna happen in May.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get a roofer up there for the next
that's what I
Yeah.
6 weeks anyhow.
I understand, but I guess it's
I know you have to
it's
get
a
the ball
looming,
rolling at some
Yeah.
point.
it's a looming issue, and we've been talking about doing the roof on the school for the last few years, and it's.
I was just offering Kim a personal opinion, I just don't think there's enough time from where we are right now to town meeting to
Yeah.
do this responsibly, but that's just a personal opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm just saying, we need to have that meeting as
Yeah.
soon as possible. So we have a grip on it, so when people at the town meeting ask us, what's going on with the roof? Why isn't there an article, or is it in the school budget? What's going on? We need to be able to answer the people.
Fair enough.
Okay?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question of the chairman of the school committee. Has the Halifax School Committee ever taken a position as to anything maybe the finance committee could do to help you? Have they taken a position on who they think should be responsible?
no.
No? Well, if there's anything we can do, we'd be more than happy to help, because we're all worried about the roof.
I think we're all worried about the roof, and I
Yeah.
think we need to move forward with it. I think that part of the problem we're having is, what does the state say we need to do? Because as I talked to Mr. Tuffy after I talked to Charlie, he was talking about a project manager. So I'm gonna be honest, I don't understand the whole building process, okay?
I think that perhaps John Tuffy might be in the process of appealing to school building assistants to help with a major project like that. If he is, that's a very positive step forward, but we should know it.
Well, at any rate, maybe we can ask Charlie to call Mr. Tuffy and find out what's the status. I can send Charlie an email and ask him.
I have a motion on the table about the elementary school budget.
Okay.
because I'll take it off the table if you want me to.
Is there?
I just figure we gotta make a decision.
I want you to see how much you flinch.
Who?
Huh?
Me?
What do you think?
No, I was looking for more of a, sounding reaction to some of this discussion from Nikki, just being as close to the subject as she is, and
Yeah.
have a different opinion.
Oh, as always, I'm torn by both ends of this. We're back to the budget. We're not on the roof anymore. Talking about the budget line, just the budget line for the school. I feel both sides of it very strongly. The school is important. I want the kids to have a good education. And there's only so much money, and we're trying to look at, dollars in all the other budgets. So,
I think 2.5% is extremely generous when you consider how we're treating the other budgets. No other department is going on 2.5% automatically, as I'm suggesting the school committee go on. And we've got to make decisions, so,
Okay.
if someone has an alternate position they've developed for some reason, that's okay.
Kim?
Could I just ask, I just missed it because I was up at the Hops, but if you're suggesting treating the elementary school any differently than any other department, we ask for the directive that they provide certain things within their budget, and if the elementary school did that, then I would feel uncomfortable with you treating them differently. Because you haven't gone to other departments saying you're a percentage. So I apologize, I missed your conversation, but my own thing is you treat these departments the same and you don't give directive to the school any different than you do any other department.
So Peg's perspective on this was we are treating the school different than we're treating the other town departments because there is a salary increase included in the budget. So that was previously discussed. So we are treating that department differently than the other departments. That's
By
her
law for
point.
the 2.5% increase.
Okay.
And we're not making decisions on what they do with it. We know that they can manage their budget and provide an excellent education within a 2.5% budget. But if someone wants to give them more money, let's find out where it comes from.
Anyone else have any? So there's a motion.
No second.
well, if, we gotta do something. Are we all just not really sure what to do? Usually this is the first one where we're just sitting here on emotion, right?
Well,
Do we want to do something different, or are we just not really sure what to do?
I guess, I don't know. I'll second the motion for discussion so we can have a vote. But I don't know how to vote.
What's your opinion, Mr. Chairman? Because you're
So
involved in the money.
Yes. So when you look, and I missed their last school committee meeting where they discussed a number of changes to the budget. But as I was told by Christine, the business manager, there is no official version 2 to look at. So
There's no official, okay. We don't vote a budget until we get down to,
So I
each
asked
version is
for,
its own draft.
okay, I asked for a copy of the version, and I was told it wasn't available.
Version 3 is not available.
Version 2.
No, version 2, because I called 2, and Christine said version 2 was not voted on, so there is no official version 2.
We haven't
Because
voted
it was
on
never
anything
voted
yet,
on.
We
really.
never voted on version 1.
What I have here was what was distributed at our March 2nd meeting. This is, to my understanding, the most current information that was available at the time.
Yeah, so
Is
we
that-
never,
These numbers, I believe, are reflected in the numbers that you folks have.
Is that the 5,117,000?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's what's reflected on my spreadsheet.
but that was only because, so the question about this is, I couldn't make it to that meeting, but we got updated from what happened at the meeting, but when we asked for a copy of the budget, we were told that we couldn't get a copy.
Well, if I can just address the point of information, I think.
Yeah.
That we made suggestions and we had discussions about what could potentially be cut. And I felt that there was at least some degree of consensus that there were some areas that could be trimmed a little bit, which would have ultimately brought our number down. We never officially voted anything, so I can't say with confidence that there's a specific number, if that's what you're looking for. I believe we're gonna have intense discussions on this on Monday, because we gotta get something moving on it. I think this is the most accurate information that we could responsibly give anyone right now, because we don't have any formal votes on this.
Okay, so I know that Sandy asked for a copy and I asked for a copy, we were told we couldn't get a copy.
I apologize, I was not involved in that.
Yeah.
I will look into it tomorrow.
Okay. So if you guys if you think there's a version 3 coming, as of Monday night, then I would vote, I would rescind my second, so we can see what you guys do with the meeting.
Okay, I'm confused. The current budget that's before us is at $5,117,885.
So yeah, approximately, yeah, I'm off by about $1 there, but close enough. That's what we had discussed preliminarily. We had 2 budget meetings so far, one the public hearing, and then we had a workshop in which we really got into it line by line, looking for wherever we could find anything extraneous. We have to be careful because this is not a posted meeting for us, so we as a committee can't really deliberate here. I'm just offering a personal opinion that I think we're going to keep working on it. And if we're off, I think, forgive me, I think Peg, you said there was about a $14,000 difference between 2.5?
Yeah.
Personally, I feel confident that we could bridge that gap, but I can't speak for everybody else. Okay.
So,
Version 2 does not have shared costs in it. It does not have increases in electricity and gas in it. It also does not talk about the green initiative that the town is looking to do at the school.
is there a cost to that for you guys?
Potential savings.
Okay, so I'm gonna rescind my second and wait for their meeting on Monday to take place.
Well, as I understand it, their discussion did make cuts informally that might bring their budget down to this $5,117,000. So, if we went to 2.5, that would mean they would only have to cut a further $14,157. Now, in a $5 million budget, I really don't think that's too much to ask. But I think one of my intents here was not just to get the town budget on moving, because we have 4 weeks to think, we haven't done a blessed thing. It was also to give you some direction so that you would have a basis to work for, because that's what you asked for.
Right.
We can wait, you know, I don't know how much longer we're
It is a bit of a chicken or the egg kind of a problem. You know, what comes first, their budget submitted to us, or do we just vote a number based on last year's budget?
Well, we have no say on anything within the budget. The only thing that we have a say on is the bottom line.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm heading. I don't want to tell them what to do with their budget. But having been there, I sat there for 13 years, I know that in a $5 million budget, you can adjust it so that you're giving the kids an excellent education. Unless they're giving outrageous increases in salaries, I don't know that, because I don't care about that. That's their business. And it's why they do it, is their business.
Okay, I'll second it, Any further discussion?
Will you second?
I'll second your motion. I'll second your motion. We can have a vote on it because it makes sense to take a vote on it. If it passes, it passes. If it fails, it fails.
Right.
Any further discussion, Linda or Nikki? Nikki.
It'll tell us where we are.
Okay, yep.
Well, I guess so, okay.
Okay.
So earlier we were talking about, are we treating the school the same as other departments? And we don't have the detail that we have for the other departments, or at least not right at the moment. We just have the bottom line. And in other departments, when there was a line, which is different from the school because the school is pretty much all one line. If in another budget, there's a line where they're asking for an increase in that line for a specific reason, like perhaps they lost state money that used to fund that or something, then, well, we haven't voted on very many, but we're considering that, right? Keeping level service, we're considering keeping level service, even if it results in an increase in a budget line.
Well, we said not
That was
not
just
level
an
service
example.
because, look at
Okay,
expenses.
sorry, you said-
Say level, say contractual, I don't, the difference is that the school is like what Peg said, it's its own line.
Right,
So if we can't tell them what to do on individual lines, we can make suggestions, we can,
I'll tell you,
But
which I agree with. I think they should have a bottom line budget.
But certainly,
Well, I'm not
if
objecting
you
to that.
haven't plugged in, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you just, I think, said that you hadn't accounted for increase in electricity and a few other things. There's some unknowns,
There is.
so
Should decrease in
based on
But
the
there's an
fact of
increase in that
unknowns.
electricity and usage, but if the town goes forward, which Charlie has said they're planning to with the green initiatives, there's gonna be an overall savings there, not an increase. But the committee hasn't talked about any of this yet. So, the committee has not voted a budget. So,
Yep.
if the finance committee's gonna say, this is what we're gonna recommend at town meeting, figure out how to work it, then we can take that back to the committee and figure out how it works.
which is, I think is Peg's
Which is
intent.
what they've been asking for a month now.
So rather than vote on a specific number tonight, should we vote guidance for them to come back in a week with a new
No,
number?
we can
That
always
doesn't
change our
work.
vote.
That doesn't
We
work.
just take a vote. If we just take a vote on Peg's motion to put that number in there, we can always take another vote to reconsider, and then we can take
That's
another
true.
vote on the number.
all right, from that.
Linda, do you have any?
Yeah, I just feel like it's hard to give a guidance on a percentage when there's enough information to give educated guidance. So we're kind of like, there's just washy information, well, this could increase, this could cause savings, like, it's hard to give educated guidance on lack of information. I'm not comfortable with making a vote with no information, pretty much. We're just getting like this overall number. So what I'm seeing is with the other departments, they're coming and they have specific, like this increase because of X, Y, and Z. So it's easier to make them, not easier, but more educated.
Okay. Case.
Did the committee get the version 1 of our budget? Did the finance
Version
committee?
one,
Yes.
yep.
Version 1?
Yes.
Okay. Version 2 didn't increase. It took certain things out. Are you looking for what we took out?
I don't think we're looking for something in particular. It's just, I would.
In a way, yes. But
Sorry, go ahead.
I think we're looking for something hard, right? So like this is the number, not this could change.
Okay, so you want okay, that's fine.
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay.
So is there any further discussion on this? Oh, what's this one?
This is the chicken the egg game that we always get caught up in here, okay? As you know, the school committee has line item autonomy over its budget. So basically, we could vote anything we wanted to, but your recommendation obviously carries well to town meeting, so we're trying to find the proper balance. For me personally, I only speak for myself, it's nice to have some solid figures to what you're looking for, because that makes it easier for me personally to look at that number and see where can we pair it off. Without that, we're gonna vote how we want, And then there's a possibility on town meeting floor, you're gonna cut our budget by a certain amount as happened last year. And then we're right back here again, trying to figure out where to make those cuts. I would prefer to have as much information as possible personally from the FinCom to get an idea of what you're ultimately looking for. And that's just one personal opinion, and I'm not speaking for the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I think we could go back and forth like this forever, right?
Yep. We've
And
been doing it forever.
I would love to treat the school the same as the other departments, but because of the way it's set up, we're kind of forced into doing it differently. So based on that unfortunate fact, I'm gonna, when we vote, I'm gonna vote in favor of Peg's motion.
Okay, so any further discussion? All those in favor of Peg's motion of a 2.5% increase over last year's number to the number of,
Oh, $5,103,731.
Right.
$30.
okay? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay, there's some guidance for you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Now,
much.
so, I hate to bring this up, but do we do the same thing for Silver Lake, or do we already meet?
So
Silver Lake.
Silver Lake is a
Discuss Silver Lake.
completely different
Animal.
animal
I know.
because
I know.
there's,
They're coming in so low.
but that's before the capital items are included.
Silver Lake is meeting Thursday night.
Yeah,
That's just,
there's a capital
But you're gonna do
aspect
this again with them.
Well, wait a second, we have a budget from Silver Lake.
that doesn't include capital items.
And, well, we weren't told that. That was the budget they were submitted to us. What are they gonna do now? Take capital items and try to stick it in the budget they've submitted?
I
Did,
don't know what the plan is.
I think.
I'm being honest.
I think when the chair of Silver Lake says that, she's saying what's been happening at every meeting. Nobody knows. They haven't taken a vote on, they presented a capital plan, but the capital plan is not included in the budget.
Oh, right, well, they told us about the capital plan too, but
Right.
I was under the impression they were not going to put any of those items in the operating budget this year.
But it needs to be in the budget,
Why?
because we don't have an article for Silver Lake that all three towns pass.
But we're not going to do any of those capital improvements this year, are we?
That's what's up for discussion.
Yes.
Well,
That's what the real discussion is that they haven't had
It's
yet.
for the
well, it seems
16
to me
budget.
that discussion should take place before the budget is submitted to the finance committee. Because, you know, we have to fit that within the budget too. And I kind of had it in my mind that they were coming in level funded. That's why I can give 2.5% to the elementary school. I mean, if they're gonna come in.
No. Okay, I don't believe the assessments, that Silver Lake's assessment for Halifax will go up. What the committee decides to do Thursday night is going to have no impact on the assessment. I don't trust the municipal contribution numbers. I'm gonna say that right out loud.
You went back and double checked them again too?
I can't tell where the state is. I don't know where the state's coming from.
Oh, okay, so
You talking about the
anything
minimum contribution?
anything Silver Lake does on Thursday night and any votes they take will not change the assessment that's already submitted to us?
That's not a,
Because they'll be taking money from E&D to pay for the capital items.
Oh, okay.
well, it depends on what
It
they
depends.
decide on what to do. If they decide
Exactly.
to take the net power metering money and use that for capital instead of using that, because right now that revenue is used as the operating item. If that comes out of operating, it gets used as a funding source for the capital, they could change the assessment.
Okay, what money are you talking about?
They signed a solar agreement with a company, it's located in Carver, and they're receiving
Right.
an energy credit of this year, estimated for the fiscal 16
No,
year.
it's not an energy credit. We get a check from Carver.
Okay. They received a check for the agreement that they signed. They're
How much?
estimating $144,000
Wow.
for the energy, for that. So right now, that's being included in the operating side
We
of
have
the
to-
discussion.
Right.
It could be used for capital improvements, which would mean that, which could mean that you'd have to find another source of $144,000. It depends on what the committee decides to do and how to spend that money.
What?
So it's $144,000.
I can go lay on the floor if you want.
It says $144,000 in revenue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And right now, it's used as a source for the operating
Yes.
budget. But it's also divided among the 3 towns, so that if they do take it out of the operating revenue side and put it into capital plan, Halifax would be responsible for about 33% of that. Is that right?
34.2%, yeah.
34.2%, okay.
Which I don't think we have.
That's still not terrible.
Agreed. And then the,
Silver
So-
Lake's budget is still way up in the air.
yes. So talking about it much more until they meet,
Yeah,
this probably doesn't make much
But do we
sense.
want to send her away with the recommendation?
Not really, because we don't know the minutes.
All right.
To be honest, we don't know what's going on, so until they
What's
just.
going on with whom?
Silver Lake?
Silver Lake.
Well, they've given us a budget, and she said she didn't expect it to change. You say it
No, I didn't
might.
say I didn't expect the budget to change. I said I didn't expect the assessment to change.
Say that again?
I expect the budget to change. I don't expect the
Oh, right,
assessment.
no, that's all I care about. is
And it's,
the
Well,
and this is a conversation, no, don't say you don't care about that, please.
Peg, you do care about that because that's how the E&D money might be spent,
on.
with the money from Pembroke. This,
No, let's not bring Pembroke into this.
but it could,
Let's talk about E&D.
but it could, because if the E&D money gets replenished, then it,
And
then it
that's all
does. So that's why I'm saying this is such a big conversation that we don't need to dive down into it. I would suggest that the committee waits until next week to talk about Silver Lake.
Okay.
I concur, which has never happened before.
Can we make sure that's noted on the TV? Can we know the time?
I think we should go back to the elementary school on their special needs and their vocab and so on.
Okay,
And get that cleaned up.
okay.
Those numbers still good?
So the question on these numbers are, Sandy, does this have the 65% reimbursement or the?
No, it still reflects the 50.
Okay, then let's not vote on that until we have guidance from the school department on what those numbers should be,
Okay.
okay?
Right.
And as of April 1st, we'll know how many people applied to the vocational program. The only item that I know we can definitely vote on under the schools is the debt exclusion budget. We can vote that if you'd like.
Yeah, we gotta do something.
Okay, so line 79, debt exclusion budget, Silver Lake, $529,727.
28, because we always round up.
28.
Yeah.
There you go.
I move it.
Second.
All those in favor? Oh, any discussion?
Aye.
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 Stu?
Aye.
All right. Okay. The decrease, just for everybody at home, is because we had a change in the population, and that's how the number dropped. We were 35.6, we're now 34.2.
Can I ask a question about that one?
Yes.
Okay, now it was said back in January or December, I'm not really sure which meeting, that we are trying to refinance those bonds.
Yes.
Okay, since this is a debt exclusion,
Yes.
if that actually happens before the tax rate goes down and we can change that, what happens to it? The town is only going to put forward what the actual amount is, correct?
I would think, so, yes. So there was discussion at Silver Lake about refinancing the bond, because we're at the 10-year mark right now, and at the 10-year mark, it makes financial sense to look at the current interest rates and try to refinance those notes. It's possible that that could close in time so that it would change our debt payment. Now, my understanding is if the assessors are given a new debt number, the debt exclusion would only go to whatever that debt number is that comes from Silver Lake. And
I don't think that's true. I think our assessors would set the tax rate based on what town meeting voted. And if we pay less because you've negotiated a lower amount, it just stays in that line item as a surplus.
Actually,
And
you
it gets
can't-
turned
All right,
back.
that has happened, And what we did when there was a surplus, because
I
we
can't
had
hear you,
one,
Sandy.
That did happen one year, Peg, you're right. We had a $38,000 surplus in the debt exclusion line. And what we did is we applied that to the following year's debt,
Yeah.
so that we excluded that much less the following year. If there's extra,
It would
that
affect
we
it
have
next
to,
year.
right, we have to leave it and apply it to the next year, because it has to, we can't exclude it
Okay.
more than
Yeah.
once.
We can't change it once town meeting votes.
Okay,
Okay.
so does that answer that question? Do you know possibly when that?
No, and that's why I asked the question I did. I'm not sure it's going to be done in time for town meeting, and that's why I asked.
Okay, but that number could be changed on the floor if you had that.
Right.
Okay. So discussion of FY15 budget aspect of Silver Lake. In the meeting at Friday, it was discussed, would the towns agree to have the budget changed to reflect the spend out of E&D for snow and ice removal.
Right.
Currently, they budgeted $50,000 for that. They have a bill of approximately $210,000. So they would be looking to spend out of E&D $160,000. The reason for such a large increase is because they had to call in contractors to shovel off the roofs.
To clean the snow off the roofs.
And
I
that-
can understand that. I can understand that. It's much better than us reading in the
210.
paper about the roofs falling in.
So that also included overtime for some of the staff that works at the school, along with heavy equipment that they brought in to move the piles, and they'll have an
Detailed
accounting
listing.
for us before we get to town meeting. But that needs to be added to the special within the annual warrant list.
Did you let Charlie know that has to be added to the special town meeting?
He was at the meeting on Friday, so I can add that to my list of items to ask Charlie. Ask Charlie. Because the selectmen need to open the warrant again for the special, right?
Yes.
And then timing of that vote needs to be done so that all three towns can make
I
sure.
don't think we can actually vote it until April because of the 45 days for Lincoln's town
For the
meeting.
towns, yes.
We've got to make sure we cover.
So we can always ask the selectmen to pass over something that they put in there if it doesn't happen. So the
Yeah.
selectmen can include it in the special town meeting warrant, and if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But if you guys
Right.
take that vote, it can be adjusted then. But it needs to be in the print by April 8th.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure Charlie will have us do that tomorrow.
Special cost for snow. Okay, so that's FY15 update from Silver Lake. So that's the discussion of that. Now, we are 10 minutes away from 9 o'clock. Is there any spending this year, Sandy, that we need to be made aware of that is going out of a projected deficit?
Yes. The veterans, today I reviewed the veterans benefits account. They will most likely be in April asking for a reserve fund transfer of about $10,000 to make their May benefit payment.
Okay.
And then we will need an article on town meeting for probably about $16,000 to make their June.
So do we
The
need that?
veterans' benefits have gone up a great deal, and yes, we're going to need to amend the veterans' benefit line. I want to talk to Charlie and Will Corey, the
Okay.
veterans agent, about it to find out how much we need. But our veterans' benefits have increased from a little more than $10,000 in July a month to about $15,500 in April.
Just quickly. So we could be looking up to 186 and from 150.
Yeah, I was actually thinking we may need to, right now Charlie and I estimated that it would be about 150,000 we need for that budget. We could be asking for 190.
Well, that's a big increase year over year.
It's been a huge increase lately.
Well, we get
I think it's due to the
reimbursed, right?
economy. A lot of, when the veterans can't find jobs, that's a lot of times when we're giving them extra benefits. We do get refunded from the state 75% of those veterans benefits. It happens the following year. So we pay veterans benefits for a year. The next year we get 75% reimbursement of that, spread over 4 quarters.
That would be $60,000 increase. I mean, that's almost 10% of.
It's a great amount, yes.
Okay, well, that's a update piece of information that we need. Thank you to the public that came out tonight. Does anybody else have anything to say? Barbara? Okay.
At our next meeting, which is Wednesday, only 2
Yes.
days away, are we gonna have enough information from Silver Lake
No.
at that point?
Simple Lakes, well,
No, okay.
their meeting's Thursday at 5
So
p.m.
we should wait until next Monday to talk about it.
Okay, so next Monday, 7 p.m. for the elementary school, correct?
Yes.
So if I attend that meeting, will we have quorum? Can everybody else? Julianne's out, so
I should be good.
you should plan on being here next Monday night?
I'm here.
Okay. Okay, so more than likely, I'll attend part of that meeting, and then I'll come back over, so So I can- yeah.
Do you think it's really more important?
It's highway.
Because we voted the election.
That's a good point.
You know, the one thing if we were still discussing it.
It could be, but Bob doesn't have anything on that.
Could I possibly be sent a copy of the newest version when you meet that night? Just send me a screen pic of the.
I don't have pictures on my phone. I can't send them.
Alright.
Okay,
So
you're
Bob-
volunteer.
Just an email.
Yeah, just a screenshot of the top cover of what you guys are looking at, just so we can add it in.
Because usually he would attend, but I really think it's more important for him to be here that night.
Want to make copies?
No,
It
he's
would be the
looking
next
for
version.
The next
Oh,
version.
next version, okay, no, that's fine, I misunderstood.
Thank you. Unless you guys want to go for 5 minutes, and
Oh, yeah, let's do a few lines.
we can do a few lines.
I don't know if they got that on public
That's why I just chuckled about it. That's not kind of fun.
We can.
Oh, my goodness.
You want to see a budget get balanced?
Raise the button and go faster, I guess.
That's why I gave it.
Okay, so how far did we get? We didn't do the town buildings because we were gonna meet with Jerry.
We got down through 44, so we're down to public safety.
Okay, so you wanna do line 45, police chief salary?
Wait a minute, we're gonna skip over 43?
Yeah, we're meeting with
44?
Jerry
Okay,
Wednesday.
okay.
So police chief salary, line 45, 100,629, that's a contractual increase.
I move that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, line 46, police wages. Now, this, this decrease, was this agreed to by the police
not a
chief yet?
decrease.
Yes.
Well, it's a decrease in the requested.
$10,000 was,
Okay,
the
and the-
request was decreased by $10,000, and that was agreed to by the
And,
police.
and that included the money that was going to cover the details for the fireworks.
No, we
Yes.
should, yes, we should be all set.
To cover it or not to cover it?
The detail is actually paid for by Halifax and Lights, but it covers the extra police officer or whatever that they put
Yeah.
on. Yes.
Okay. Line 46, police wages.
So what number are you? 938, 585?
Mhm.
Is that your motion?
Well, I don't know, I just want to verify that that's the right number.
That's the number I was gonna read, so if that's the
Sure, I'll
motion,
make that motion.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Any
Yeah.
further discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Of 938, 585.
Yes. Linda? Okay. Okay, so that's unanimous. Line 47, police training is 8,700. Is there a motion?
I move it.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Stu, it's 9.
Got 3 more minutes.
Okay, police, line 48, police clerical, $43,031.
I move that amount.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Yeah,
unanimous?
before you move the next line, I have a
Yes.
question.
Okay.
So, if the town is going to buy a new pet microchip scanner, does that come out of police expense, or is that out of the animal control officer expense?
That would be animal control.
Okay.
I'm gonna
So,
ask you to hold the police expense.
Okay.
I know that we're gonna need money for electricity for them this year. Oh,
So that-
actually, no.
Wait a second.
No, I'm sorry.
I don't know what she
Okay.
asked. What
Okay.
did you ask?
You know that pet
Oh,
microchip
it might
scanner?
be purchased from police gifts.
no, it's, Sandy said it would come out of the animal
Animal
control
control.
expense.
Animal control?
I think so, because it would be for the animal control
Okay, I
officer
thought
to
it was
use.
police. Okay, I thought it was police, because they have money in
Yeah.
there.
I take it back, you can go do police expense at
But we can't
station
do the
maintenance.
station maintenance, okay.
Yeah.
So line 49, police expense, $62,485. Is there,
I move that.
is it seconded?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay, we'll skip line 50, line 51. So this would be questioned
Wait
under
a second, why are we?
electricity. Line 51, this would change if the capital plan has not made a recommendation yet.
Right.
So let's skip 51. 52, fire, chief salary, $101,664. It's contractual increase.
Okay, I move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Okay. Fire clerical, line 53, is $38,979.
I move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Line 54, fire wages, is $587,955. Is there a motion?
I move it.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Skip 55. Line 56 is fire training, and that is $57,627.
I move that.
Is there a second? Any further discussion? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes unanimously. Line 57, fire expense is level funded
I
at
move it
$30,000.
30,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Line 58, fire station maintenance. Is this one the same?
Yeah,
Is this gonna be electricity?
Let's take a look at this one too.
Okay, line 59, fire vehicle and equipment maintenance, $24,065.
I move that.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. Line 60, fire ambulance supplies, 7,000. Oh, did I skip one?
Fire medical supplies.
60?
60. Fire medical supplies, 7,500? Oh, no, 20,000. All right, 20,000.
That's an increase, but we heard about that.
Okay, and that was due to the cost of medical supplies, and if we don't purchase those supplies, then they lose their accreditation and they... What?
And patients.
And patients. Well, possibly. Okay, so somebody else read what I just messed up there. So line 60, fire, medical supplies, $20,000. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. And ambulance billing, line 61, $7,500. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay. Stu,
Motion to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.